A battle between the Rams and the Aggies about to go down here in the Mountain West. Round number 2 of the Overwatch Spring 2023. We welcome you inside of the booth. Clutch Key alongside Jag with you for this matchup. Again, between the Colorado State Rams taking on the Utah State Aggies. And for both of these teams, round number 2. So, hey, anything can really happen to show off your Colorado States. This will be their first game as Colorado State was on a bye last week. Utah State playing Boise State last week, and their very first game would go down 0-3 there. But still, I mean, redemption for Utah State, and we get our first look at Colorado State. I mean, this should be a pretty good one coming up.
It should be. And like you said, only round 2, week 2, whatever way you want to spin it. There's plenty of time left in the season. But when you look at the end of the day, there's only 4 teams that make playoffs. So already going down 0-1, Utah State, they want to get into that win column. They want to be at least net even going into week 3. But Colorado State might be a bit more well-rested having that week off. They might be actually to be able to watch their opponents too, see maybe what their opponent's strategies are, maybe do a little bit of scouting. They're a bit of an unknown, but if you start out 0-1 as well coming into week 3, I mean, again, you're going to be in that negative column. You're going to be bouncing back, trying to battle back later on. So there's a lot of implications early on during the season. And one thing is for certain, that map number 1, it's going to be Nepal.
Yeah, and for map number 1, again, Nepal coming up here in just a couple of moments. But you were talking about standings as well. You never want to go 0-2 to start, I guess, in the minds of Utah State. Never want to fall to 0-2, especially when you've only got 6 games to play, and being 4-2, only top 4 get to go. So would have to win out the rest of the way, maybe to even get a shot at that number 1 through number 4 seed for the semifinals coming up on March 28th. But the season going by very quickly. The next matchup coming up on March 3rd already, so only 3 days out from this next one. Coming up on Friday and March 3rd will be the other matchups. But for today, at the very least, some more implications going on in the rest of the Mountain West. Boise State taking on UNLV. Both of those teams 1-0, 3+3 map differential. Air Force taking on New Mexico, and that one, I believe, also has a 1-0 versus an 0-1 team there as well. So, again, lots of implications going on just in this week alone as we head into Nepal. The very first map we are going to play is going to be on the Shrine. And even though we're close enough to the midseason patch, we're almost there, not quite yet, but we still get to see what both of these teams decide to pull out, and it's looking kind of similar on either side.
Yeah, really the only difference is going to be that main support, that main healer. It's the flex support, but main healer in this comp is going to be doing a lot more healing than probably your Lucio. But Moira, a lot of AoE work for healing mode, but that Baptiste, Immortality Field to keep their team alive in a very sticky situation.
They're going quickly right in. The Rams will take at least first possession for right now, but the point doesn't unlock for a little while. Immortality Field having to use very early on, and it's the finish using that Symmetra laser beam to melt everybody away. Finishes 2 already. Look out for the laser, finds 2, finds a 3rd for the rest of the team, and it's going to be a point unlock, and the Rams have themselves first cap.
That fight is over essentially when you take position of the point, when you're able to get your utility on the point with Symmetra. I mean, you teleport in, you speed boost in, and then her turrets are set up. They're going to do so much damage. And the thing about Symmetra is her main fire, that basically charges up on anything, especially onto shields. So even if you're not doing any damage onto the opposition for a little bit, you're breaking that shield down, and you'll be doing way more damage once that shield is broken.
Well, let's see if they do even more damage. About halfway home for Cats to get to the ultimate. Finish already 10% away from it as they try to charge right on in, and a little bit of trouble goes Rose Dog, but has enough healing for right now. Almost melted away. Photon Projector is out for finish for right now, so the Rams have a little bit more shield than does the Aggies of Utah State. Trying to swing away. The Earth Shatter lifted up. They have time to run away here, and they do for a little while. It is stuck, but 156 health left to go. They pull out the Coalescence, and despite the Earth Shatter up in the air, the Rams are able to find the win on the fight.
It is a fight win, but it's an expensive fight win, especially in only the second engagement. That's 3 ultimates, Coalescence, Earth Shatter, and Photon Barrier all being used there. I think, Death Trap being set up in the air, it made them panic a little bit. That's maybe why the Coalescence was used, just to make sure they stayed alive through that transaction. But now Utah State, if they're going to be coming into this, they're going to be able to see the Photon Barrier right off the bat. But that's going to be the Deadeye from the teleporter!
The Deadeye from the TP goes right behind them, and Billy Spike goes down. Immortality Field as well, 66%. Looking like there's going to be another fight here, but Caps can only wait for death as the Rams are just putting on the showcase right now.
And what a unique way to use that. There's so many ways you can use this teleporter now that its time up has been reduced. I think it only stays up for about 10, 11 seconds at a time. So instead of just leaving it for that spawn, somebody to come back from spawn and just go back to the point, they're going to use it as a way to flank around, get that ultimate off. But now they're going into an Earth Shatter, as well as the Amplification Matrix, which is used right off the bat.
Yeah, they use the Amp Matrix, try to get themselves in. Shatter blocked. Nothing doing for the Reinhardt. of Rose Dog. So that shatter goes all for nothing. Photon Projector up for a second time here for finish. Will they use it is the question in this fight. Last fight territory as the overtime clock starts to be used, and the sound barrier out right away. Will they get that Reinhardt off the map? Yes, Rose Dog leads Death Trap off the map from who knows where, from the middle, in the middle of the shrine. And right now they have the overtime clock leading, but it's Utah State that backs, or rather Colorado State that backs off. Aggies in command.
You couldn't do that in Overwatch 1. Now you can cancel the charge. You stop right at the last moment, so you leave your opponent off the edge, but you get to stay alive for another day. Gotta say, the engage from Epoch, this is a very hard map to try to use an Amp Matrix there, because you see there's a beam right in the middle of it, but it's gonna be the counter ult coming out now from the other side.
Shatter blocked one more time there from this time. Death Trap to Rose Dog, and this time Cats has the better of finish. In the meanwhile, Photon Projector is out, but it's probably not going to do much of anything here, as right now it's just the Cassidy and a Moira just running away for their lives. It's still the fight continuing on. They still want Death Trap to try to run on in and maybe do some damage, but Death Trap has death awaiting for them, and it's Utah State now on the advantage.
That's a big fight. I mean, this is, if Colorado wins one more fight, they take this point, they're halfway to taking this map. The fact that Colorado has to use 4 ultimates there and they still don't win the fight, that's huge for Utah. They have possession, they're building up ultimates once again, they've got 2 right to go, and now they've forced Colorado to try to make this emergency swap. Now the Ramacho's coming out, it's a little bit more poke damage, a little bit less, I would say, zone control. That shield's only temporary, it's only going to last a little bit longer, so Colorado with a glass cannon like Cassidy might have to try to use this natural covered positioning a bit better. They're going to try to rotate around the corner. Let's see what they can do to get onto the site, because like I was just saying, I mean, yeah, there's the photon barrier.
Photon barrier is out. Shatter gets down. Death Trap, and Death is gone. 71%. They have to back off already if they want a quick win fight here, but it's not looking great. Colorado State still on the back end here, coming up in final fight.
I like the photon barrier as well as the earth shatter. You're not going to think they're going to shatter into that Symmetra shield that they just put up themselves. Good sneaky little play, but they also use the Amp Matrix, so there's nothing to boost this potential Deadeye that's going to be coming out soon. All they have right now is a sound barrier. The other Deadeye on the other side from Country Roads is about to be up. Let's see if it can take them home all the way to that first point win.
Well, 99%. It was 99-0 at one point. We're into 99 versus 99. Coming up with the overtime clock underway. Who has the willpower to take this all the way through? Sound barrier is used, and the turret takes down Epoch, which is big, but in return, Death Trap is gone. Tank for DPS, you would take that for a little while, and the Deadeye wasted, but there's the fire strike right away from Rose Dog. Rose Dog finds 2. Maybe could be the hero to save this one. Overtime clock starts to bleed away. There's the Photon Projector out from finish. Uses the 3rd one of the game. It's not going to be enough as they swing away. Now it's only just the Lucio on the point, trying desperately to keep Colorado State in this, but Utah State down 99-0 brings it all the way back to the first map win on the Shrine.
And if this is what we're seeing in the first round of the first map, we might be in for a very hectic series, very back and forth, very brawly from both sides. There were a few missed plays on either side, but at the end of the day, Utah State, they're able to clutch up, and I think it comes down to the fact that Colorado State, they do use 4 ultimates, as we talked about, in that lost fight when it was only about 40% on the table for Utah. They were in last win territory. They win 1 fight, they take that home. I think they use maybe just 1 ultimate there, try to get more out from Utah State. They come back in, they keep the Reinhardt. They might be able to win that just through sheer might, but instead, just a few missed opportunities that's going to let Utah win their first round here on Nepal. Now as we go into Sanctum, I see a lot of potential for environmentals, especially now that the Orisa is coming out from Colorado. There's a lot of potential. I mean, you could just javelin someone right off the point.
Well, I mean, let's see where they decide to position themselves. So both will go to the upper staircase to start the game, or start the round at the very least here on the Sanctum. Point unlocks in 10 seconds. Not unlike what we saw earlier on. Both teams trying to vie for position. Colorado State doesn't have the upper hand this time. With a fire strike onto Honor, looking pretty good here for the Aggies to start themselves off on the right foot. And that also helps when you got the Lucio off, but the Lucio trades that off so that Lucio gets the Cassidy, and the Cassidy trades out for the Lucio as well. And it's looking like Colorado State may be in command here, down 3. But they're going to push this Hanzo right off the map, and it's looking like Colorado State will have command, but the fight continues on here. I mean, they pushed them off, and it looks like they're finally going to regroup.
I think there, Utah, I mean, they had the advantage of the round, they could just push in, but instead of taking the point, they try to force that fight in no man's land, where there's plenty of potential for environmental eliminations. And then we saw the boot coming through, we saw potentially a pile driver as well. We didn't have the POV there to see exactly how they went down, but Colorado State, just a very smart way to play this point and now keep control on the objective.
And they're going to take the Reinhardt off the
Another
map. There's the Javelin spin that takes Rosedog out, and now Death Trap is on fire here for this team. They're going to have to back up. It's only the Cassidy and Redley, 2 healers and 2 DPSs left, but they're going to back them up all the way underneath this archway door. But what a play from Colorado State's Death Trap.
Yeah, if you're going to play Orisa, you have to play like this. You have to play aggressive because you don't have that shield anymore to sit behind. You don't have that barrier where you can just poke. You have to run into them at all times. And if you're able to hold them in this spawn side area and then force them into uncomfortable positions on the point, you're going to be in a great position. And this Dragon Strike might be able to create some separation. But Cass is just taking heads.
Cass rolls the head of the finish right now. There's the Terror Surge. Is he going to find anything is the question. Immortality Butte happened to be used. This Death Trap finds a triple. Oh my goodness. Death Trap finds a 4th. He's going to find the team kill. It's all over for CSU's team fight there. Utah State can't answer. They switch off. But oh my god, Death Trap.
Yeah, Death Trap is just taking this point into their control right now. They lost sight of that first round. Second round, they are in the driver's seat, but can they hold out? Last time they fell apart a little bit. Utah State making these changes to try to be able to contest the Kiriko, the Junkrat, the Orisa coming out. They're trying to do a lot of spam damage, I think, as well as kind of have some of that more control where they can push up, and Cats will find another elimination.
That's huge for them. They use the Samurai in the meantime. Lucio's in the back line. 85% enrolling. Cats finding Country Roads would be a good start. It's a 5v4 situation now. Utah State needing to win this fight. His final fight territory as the Orisa goes on the Orisa right now. Warrior does have the Deadeye available. Might not even need to use it. Javelin spin. Doesn't find anybody. No. There's the good cleanse there for a little while. The Deadeye finds Dio in the back line. So it's a 5v4 situation now. And there's Epoch helping out the rest of the team along with a lot of assists. And it's going to be Utah State that gets control back at the point. 99-0. But hey, look out. This could be deja vu.
Yeah, Colorado right now, you got to realize, hey, they're ultimates on their sides after these swaps. They got quite a few eliminations, so they got a lot of ult percentage. We can force them to use utility. We only have right now the Sojourn ultimate, so there's no reason to really push this. If we find a pick right off the bat, maybe that's the go keep it. In general, you got to find the Orisa first because you got to know she has Terror Surge after her performance. And after she does that, but she's pushed off the map.
So she's pushed up the map, so Rosedog finds the Javelin kill onto the Lucio, and then Death Trap sends Rosedog to their death by the Javelin spin. Here comes the overclock from Country Roads. Is this going to find anything? It may not find a single thing, and it won't find anything anyways. Uses the Terror Surge, which seems pretty interesting, but it finds the Moira in the back line. Colorado State flips the point in the meanwhile, and they may only need 2 ults to win this fight, and they can't even push in, so the objective is secured for CSU, and we got a tie game.
Yeah, well played there. I was saying, if you get that first pick, that is when you can use ultimates. That is when you're able to go through. And although they do lose their Lucio, they're still able to push on to the point. The fact that they have their tank and Utah State doesn't put them in such an advantage position with only 1 tank in the game now. You know, having a tank and the other team doesn't, you are up quite a bit of health there, quite a bit of utility, and especially Orisa, quite a bit of point control with the threat of those environmental eliminations. So great job by Colorado keeping their composure this time around. The ultimates came in just at the perfect time. They zone out as well. The coalescence stuff is coming in from Epoch. And we talked about the Terror Surge thing. Hey, why is Death Trap doing this? It was complete just zoning. And the fact that they're able actually to get out, I believe Epoch 2, or someone jumped onto the point as it was just finishing up. That is just icing on the cake. Just well played here. But now we are on Village, and something's got to give here. One of these teams has to get that 3rd and final point to win map 1.
Oh, here we go with the Village, like you were saying. 3rd map here, 199 to Utah State, 127 to Colorado State. Comes down to this. See who wins map number 1. 10 seconds left to go. Fastest to the point will be CSU for the Rams. And they'll try to push right in. Both shields going very, very low, so they're just going to hide around natural cover around the wall for just a couple of moments here. They're just going to swing right in. There's the Maeve takes from Cats, and there's the wall off from either side. Now, who's inside of the wall is the question. Immortality field's not going to matter. Rosedog goes down, and so Death Trap getting that first pick off, and that's going to mean the Rams have control to start this round.
Yeah, just a little bit better wall positioning. They were isolated a little bit more. That Immortality field, it does come out from Epoch, but immediately you can see the entirety of Colorado State, they are focusing it down. And I think also with this Symmetra, they're going to have such good point control. The turrets are going to, stop them from potentially going in a bit quicker because they do also limit your movement speed. Just also, they're going to do a bunch of damage. Cassidy, sure, on the flank, maybe you can find some targets. It's shooting into this Rhine shield. They're not going to be finding many headshots.
Oh, another good wall. There's 2 of them trapped inside of the wall. That's the Reinhardt and the Maeve, but they're able to get out right after the wall dropped. So now here comes Cats. The coalescence is going to be popped, but it might be too little too late. Finish does go down, so that's a lot of your damage gone and dusted. The charge goes in, doesn't find the Moira. Misses a little bit, but able still to find a pick on the back end. Meanwhile, Application Matrix out for Epoch. They could trade this out. Warrior finds 2 heads to kill right now. Only person left to go on this point is the main and the Symmetra. Photon Projector is out. Warriors in so much trouble right now. Blizzard's going to be used, and Blizzard is used, but dies in the process. So can they kill everybody else in is the question, and that answer is going to be no. So the Blizzard goes for nothing, and Utah State's going to have this back.
I said this could be quite an interesting matchup, and it is chaotic as chaotic can be. First of all, Otter just turns away from the charge while in Coalescence doesn't have their Wraith form available and somehow doesn't get hit by that. That is a highlight in its own right. But Utah in general, very smart rotations, able to take over the point, noting that they're up. And they force out so many ultimates from Colorado while using basically none of their own.
And a Blizzard comes out, but a Blizzard's going to find absolutely nothing there. The main able to ice block themselves out. Warrior in Deadeye form, but there's a shield blocking their way. Warrior's going to have to get that one up for right now. Really no sights on anybody, especially in that, on that top of that bridge. Not a lot of sight lines there. There's the Saber is going to be used. Earth Shatter turns around, and this Earth Shatter from Rosedog finds at least 3. Rosedog's going to swing away. Death Trap finds 2. Rosedog finds 2, but it's going to be Colorado State coming up big here with 2 more kills on the support side, and it's going to be the Rams taking it right back.
I was just talking about Utah State. They've got a great ult bank. The Mail, sure, it doesn't get anything, but it can zone them out. It can let you sit up on the point, let you take that advantage. But instead, they just kind of run in as well. The Deadeye, a few other ultimates are used at their disposal as well. And now they are only left with their Lucio ultimates. They do have a Sound Bear. It could be a great counter to something, or just falling low. But right now, they're going to have to try to rescue their Rhyme because they are cut off.
Well, they charged at each other for right now. The walls are down for a little while, but the Fire Strike finds Epoch. That's huge for CSU to start off their fight. Rosedog, it pins somebody, and I think that's going to be the Symmetra down. So Utah State now in a 4v3 man advantage. Rosedog drops down, swings away the hammer, finds Otter, and they're going to be able to find the point here if somebody can just walk onto it. Now you have the main versus the Reinhardt, but there's a lot of damage being poured out, and Utah State wins the fight, stays alive.
Not only do they stay alive, but again, they have a huge ult bank advantage here. They've got 3 ultimates about to come online. They do use their Sound Barrier after losing one right off the bat, but it's a good trade getting that point back, knowing that Colorado State, once again, in this last fight scenario, Colorado State, they've been great at getting the point early and often, but as we saw in that first round, just not able to hold it once the ball was in their court. They're going to try to teleport it. The Maywall is actually going to cut off the teleport. The great Maywall usage, but the point will be controlled by them. However, Maywall going to go in, and I think Death Trap's going to fall.
No, but doesn't fall because of the Coalescence. Great healing there from that Moira of Otter, so CSU still has a chance in this fight. Blizzard available for Country Road. Utah State only got a Deadeye available to them, but Blizzard's not even going to happen here as they get all the kills, so they have to quickly back off, and it's 81%. Utah State is on the brim of winning this.
They will be just enough time, though, to recontest this. 15 seconds is what you need for a full recontest. I'm actually really surprised about the Wrecking Ball. I think they'll be able to get this without it, but more mobility. Make sure you touch the point no matter what. They will be able to get onto this. Maywall will be used, but they will be able to roll around. The big thing is they have to get a big Maywall here. Country Roads has not been able to find a lot of targets. They've got to find one here, and there it is being thrown on the point.
Blizzard's being thrown out. That's already 3 kills coming out from Utah State. Only one person left to touch this point. It's the Moira down, and Utah State, oh my goodness, what a close fight in the village, but it's going to be the Aggies of Utah State taking map number 1. 199 on the Shrine, loses 127 on the Sanctum, but in the end, Village 197, and the Aggies are up 1-0.
And this is how you make a statement after losing your first game of the season. 0-3, as you had mentioned before. They did not win a single map. Here is a statement. You win your first one back against a team that hasn't even had to play yet. A very close back and forth encounter. It could have gone either way, honestly, at the end of the day. But I think there were a few things. I mean, I talked about kind of misplays before. The ultimates, again, I think there were a little bit misuses here and there, maybe overcommitting, maybe undercommitting. But I think the big thing is those swaps from the tank. Death Trap overall having a very good performance. You know, that battle on tank was back and forth the entire time. But swapping to the Ramatra on our first round, swapping to the Wrecking Ball here when they probably didn't need to in the first place, your team is going to be super vulnerable. If you have a brawl comp, and then you swap to a Wrecking Ball, your team is not going to have any protection. They don't have that Rhine Shield luxury anymore. Wrecking Ball on their own can survive a lot with those adaptive shields. You know, they can sustain themselves, but the rest of the team just did not have that same luxury. And unfortunately, it seems like Colorado just did not have enough steam to finish out that last fight and take that first map.
Well, next map coming up for them, at least for the redemption for Colorado State, it is going to be their pick. It is going to be a hybrid, and lo and behold, we go back to Scrims Row as per the, I guess you could say, per the norm of most of these teams in this case, because it's, I mean, a lot of times it's called Scrims Rows for a reason. It's open to interpretation. A lot of the teams like it here, and I mean, Kings Row, an old staple from the very get-go here, but for Colorado State, this is their pick, so I'm wondering what they're going to be able to pull out. I mean, we saw the Reinhardt, I mean, we saw different variations. Arisa Reinhardt, I think we even saw the Ramatra out there for a couple of moments as well. But what do you think they pull out here coming up in Kings Row?
I mean, if it's known as Scrims Row, it's also known as the home of Reinhardt previously. It was almost entirely a Reinhardt-centric map because of those openings on the map. They're just perfect for Reinhardt's shield to basically split through. Then you can just defend the whole team. But you and I have casted quite a few games now in Kings Row, and we've seen a lot of variation. We've seen a lot of Arisa in particular, where these teams will just play tempo. They will play very quick. They'll run in with the Javelin and just basically take space, take control, absorb some of the damage coming in, and then they will do a lot of damage. So the Reinhardt comp, depending on how you play it, sometimes it can be aggressive like that. Sometimes you're just kind of sitting and waiting with more long-range DPS like the Ashe, no Lucio. So it really depends on what we see come out here. I think there are a lot of opportunities to play a lot of different things, but I think the name of the game is going to be tempo in this match. We've already seen the team that is able to engage first has usually been the team that's been winning out these fights. So I would honestly love to see Arisa comp more. I think in particular, when Utah was able to play into Colorado, they were able to match them, if not do better. That is the one round they were able to win on the Paul once they made that swap and then just were able to hold on to the point for the rest of the map.
Yeah, and we'll get to see what both of these teams pull out here. Is again, we're going into Scrims Row in just a couple of moments, but we talk about what Colorado State did. I mean, Colorado State, again, not to say that they didn't have any highlights. Look, they had 199. They were up 99-0. Let's point that out. They were up 99-0. You go back all the way to Shrine on the very first map. They were up 99-0, but Utah State brought it back all the way 100-0, and then they won Sanctuary 127. You talk about an Arisa play. That's where it shined the most on the Sanctum, but in this case, Utah State's going to be on the defensive side, Colorado State on the attacking. We'll see what they pull out. But for Utah State, like you were saying, it's Old Faithful with Reinhardt on Kings Row to start for Utah State's defense.
And we're just seeing this as like a, I guess a, trying to think of the right word, a comfort pick maybe that we're seeing coming out from Epoch versus what Otter is doing. The Moira versus the Bats, we've seen this quite a bit. And although I think that we have seen the Baptiste have his moments, Utah is up, and I think we've also seen Epoch go to the mirror. I really want to see these immortality fields get a little bit more aggressive. I would love to see them just kind of run in with Roadhog and just swing for the fence as opposed to trying to use it defensively, trying to use it when they're more backed into a corner. We'll see how they play this. I don't think this Junkrat trap is going to find anything. It does. Finish, walks all the way around the bus just to get trapped. It is going to be the first elimination. Good news, they're on attacks. They will get back firstly, but that is so unfortunate. I thought they were going to rotate all the way around and just push in towards the statue. But nope, Cat's going to get a cheeky little first elimination here on Kings Row.
Oh. Shout out Septimus, by the way, who loves the Junkrat, so you love to see those kinds of kills if you're in. But anyways, 30 seconds going into the fight already. As like you were saying, they were looking to rotate around, and this time they will rotate around. They have the Pharmacy combination out for the Rams, so Rams are going to have to find a way basically to force their way in right now. They have the Immortality Field used, and Cats finds two with a landmine. That's huge for them. Cats is going to run all the way around here, maybe getting the Pharaoh, which they do as well. Pharaoh flying too low in the zone, and it's going to be Utah State putting up the fence to start in the first minute.
So Pharmacy is actually historically very good on Kings Row because you just push into them and you do so much spam damage from above. However, the counter play from that, if you're Utah, as they did, is you just focus them on the ground. You take the 3v5, you ignore the Pharmacy, you don't let it get enough damage, you take natural cover, and you run into the ground, and you take them over. That's exactly what happened. Colorado State with the Moira, Sojourn, and Reinhardt, they're not going to have nearly as much firepower if Countryworks isn't finding elimination after elimination in the sky.
Well, let's see if they can. They're almost there, so with Rocket Barrage, and there it is. Application Matrix also used from Epoch. Roadhog has the Earth Shatter available, but Epoch, knowing that they've got the window, CSU respects it. They back off into natural cover for just a couple of moments. Retire available for Cats. At the same token, see if they use it. Rocket Barrage is out. Epoch finds Country Road, so that goes for absolutely nothing. Here comes the tire. Is it going to find anything up in the air? It finds the Mercy, who bounced away, but cannot back away and fly away. So again, another fence with 2 minutes gone. The Aggies are a stone wall right now.
Cat's absolutely thriving on this Junkrat, and you're thinking, why didn't they use the tire on the first two targets they saw? They went for the Valkyrie, they went for the Mercy to make sure there was no res to take that group healing offline. So great priority target focus, whatever you want to describe it as. Just great instincts there by the Junkrat. And now you're going to see Colorado State again making these changes.
There comes more changes, like you said. There is the jump ride coming out. Shatter is there. It's a 3-man. It's huge. Rose Dog finds 3 down, but is able to find a 1-for-1 trade. The charge in, nothing doing there. There's the overclock. Can Finish be a hero for now? Finish is the hero. Finds 2 kills onto both Yibok and Warrior. Despite the Shatter start, Kansas is going to find his way back to their spawn room, and Colorado State, 90 seconds left to go, finds a way to win the fight and is going to get the first point.
Takes a few ultimates, it takes a few swaps, but they get there, they get the point, and like you said, only a minute, 10 seconds on the clock when they cap, but 3:30 added to that time bank when all is said and done. Great last second changes, big picks. The biggest thing, they take out Billy Spike. That fight is completely changed if they take anyone else out. They had the Lucio ultimate, the sound barrier ready to go. Those extra temporary shields would have been huge in sustaining them, but instead they take it once and for all, and now they're going to try to use the Amp Matrix to take some space back.
Yeah, and they will do so with the Fire Strike through that Amp Matrix as well. That's a lot of damage being poured out from them. Rose Dog finds his way onto it, the finish, and right now they just back off, knowing that they've already lost one, but the spawn room near door. Cats wins the one-on-one against Country Roads, and no more spam damage available here for CSU, as Utah State, again, just going to hold them right up against this archway for right now, but we'll see if they continue the fight. Oh, so close at the moment. Deadeye is available for them, see if they decide to use it, but right now, I mean, they're just backing off, just letting them play, and really nothing doing so far.
Yeah, they want to hold this archway for as long as possible. This is such a good defensive stronghold because, sure, you can look through the window, you can try to rotate all the way around to their side, but then you lose control of the point. And they can just continue to spam away, and they just can back up to the left for natural cover. This is the best potentially defensive stronghold in the game, and this is going to be an aggressive play. It only finds 1, but that's more time off the clock, more time held now by the defenders, and Utah, they might have given up this first point, but they're doing a great job at killing the clock. Already a minute and about 30 seconds gone.
Yeah, so 2:10 left to go on the clock. They had about 3 minutes and 35 when they capped that first point. They now are down to 2 minutes. Shadow's available pretty much on either side. Deathtrap has it first, though. See if they can find anything with it. Trap is gone, but just staying underneath the archway right now. Could very well come down to the Shatter if both of the shields are gone. Cats finds Country Roads, though. The Shatter blocks. Nothing doing for Deathtrap there, so now it's Rose Dog that can play a little bit more aggressively. They find the Reinhardt in a little bit of trouble inside of that trap. The Reinhardt charges in, takes down Deathtrap, and again, the Aggies put up a fence.
Expensive? Well, not necessarily. Only the Implication Matrix used, and they force out Earth Shatter as well as the Sound Barrier. So Utah, they are playing this to a T. They do have to worry about Country Roads potentially getting a big tire, but not only do they have the Sound Barrier, they also have the Immortality Field. If timed right, they could potentially stop this. Colorado, though, are going to try to go for the drop. So they are going to go for the all the way around flank, but you can see Utah, they are already very aware of this. They could actually flip this and play as if they're the attackers now, just play on the cart itself, or they can play on Bookstore. The Coalesce is going to be used right away.
Shatter around the corner. That finds 2 down, but it's not going to matter here. They trade out 1 for 1, both of the supports on either side. But Cat finds a second looking for more, but gets swung away onto Deathtrap. It's a trade for trade fight. Who knows who's going to win this one? But with Rose Dog taking down Deathtrap, you'd have to assume that Colorado State has to back off one more time, and it's going to be Utah State forcing them into final fight territory underneath the archway.
I would love for them to try to go for that rotation again, except send Finish just on the flank, try to put them on the high ground and have them drop with the Deadeye. Complete bamboozle attempt. I mean, they got to do something here, right, Colorado? That's all they've got to work with. They do take out the Baptiste, actually. They traded out with the Genji swap, but this could actually be very winnable with the Reinhardt falling.
Yeah, that could very well be it, but here comes the Rip Tires that's going to find anything. Was looking at the Reinhardt to start, just running away, looking for the Moira, and the Moira doesn't even realize that the tire was headed right for them. So now 10 seconds left to go. You're down to a 5v4 situation. No Moira either to play with, but you got to keep pushing, otherwise you don't have another fight here. So 3 seconds left. Overtime clock will be used up in this fight. Deadeye is out. Is this going to find anything? Their Junkrat from up above. Cats is a little bit low in health, but Cats cannot find their way out. Was all to the Immortality Shield, nothing doing. Earth Shatter available, and Deathtrap finds the Earth Shatter, but it hits nothing. It finds absolutely nothing. It's a ghost town with the Shatter there, and Rose Dog takes down Deathtrap. Meanwhile, Utah State looking to close this one out right here, right now. Application Matrix is out to get a lot of damage down, and right now Finish is just staring down this Reinhardt with nothing left. but death awaiting for them. Colorado State, only one person left. It is going to be the Lucio that tries to hold on, but the Lucio can't find their way onto the point anytime soon. And for Colorado State, stopped 1 point, 93.24 meters. That's all Utah State has to do to get their second point of the match.
And they do finally get out from that archway, the Genji swap. It is an interesting pick, but with that just ability to dash in and get that immediate damage and a potential headshot follow-up, they are able to find those initial picks. They're able to put some pressure finally onto Utah, and they're able to push up near that second point. So this is a winnable map. I mean, it was winnable before, but now, especially having that extra distance, the spawn disadvantage that Colorado might have, or excuse me, that Utah will have if they get that first point captured, they push it far enough away. There are plenty of opportunities for Colorado to try to win this one out. I'd love to see them put out the Orisa again. I think in the Ryan v. Ryan matchup, we're seeing that Death Trap maybe struggling a little bit against Rose Dog. Those shadows aren't quite hitting. If that, I mean, I'm not exactly sure how that didn't hit, to be honest, looking at that. Like, I was watching it in the moment, and I was like I'm not sure if the shield was put up, we just didn't see it from our POV. It was just too fast. It hit a wall, whatever it was. If that had landed, game changer. That's an immediate second point capture. But with that ultimate not landing the mark, and the rest of the team getting just kind of being pushed out, spread apart, it's just an unfortunate series of events that led to them not being able to capture that second point. But they're not going to be pushing that Orisa out just yet. They want to go for the Ryan v. Ryan mirror matchup once more. But I'm very intrigued in the Bastion as well as the Kiriko. My guess is the Kiriko is there basically to pocket that Bastion, make sure they don't fall with their Suzu.
Let's see if the Widowmaker finds anything from the get-go. Shield is up. They know they have that right away, so it's going to drop and maybe changes out into a Genji. And yes, there it is, the Genji swap. Meanwhile, the Bastion melting away Rose Dog right now. Rose Dog's shield gone, has to back up into the hotel for just a couple of moments while the rest of his team regroups with him. So they push right on in. Utah State, no fear with what they've got. They're just going to charge right in, especially against the Bastion on the Genji. There's the dash away from Cats to take down Country Roads. 5v4 situation, Immortality Field now gone. And a sleep dart is deflected, and that's huge for Cats to get that kill for them on the Bastion, and it's a team kill. Utah State off to the right foot.
We've been talking a lot about the tank matchup as well as the support differences we've seen in their picks, but Cats, especially in this map, has really been starting to take control. Their Junkrat was pristine and their Genji a huge difference maker. Like you said, that sleep dart, not only just deflecting it, but landing it on the opponent, that is huge. They're able to get the Mei as well, I think the first pick in that fight. They do end up falling a little bit too overeager there, but they get that first point cap so quickly that even though they're going to lose this fight, there's still plenty of time for them to regroup.
Yeah, 5 minutes and 23, mind you, to play with. So they go underneath the archway, but here's where CSU was held up for the longest time, and the Rams looking for a little bit of payback, if you will, underneath the archway. No swamps to talk about here for right now, but Utah State has the Dragon Strike available. The Dragon Blade, Dragon Strike, along with the Earth Shatter. Maybe this could be big for either side, but CSU relenting up a little bit of space. There's the Earth Shatter. There gets 2 down. The turret no longer there. The Reinhardt no longer there as well. Warrior finds 2, courtesy of the Shatter from Rose Dog, and it's very well looking like Final Fight territory coming up.
Yeah, already. I mean, they are just moving and schmoving right now. I talked about the advantage you have as a defender on the second point. They might even get that opportunity, really, because there's ultimates built up. They only use the Earth Shadow. They'll give out everything else. I thought they were going to use the Dragon Strike first. I thought, hey, just, create some space. Don't even worry about cleaning up the fight. Just be able to get out from under that archway. But no, they play aggressive. And that Earth Shatter from Rose Dog, just like it has many a times, it lands, and it lands big.
Here comes the application matrix, but the artillery finds one at the very least. The finish finds the artillery kill onto Billy Spike, and that sound barrier goes, I think it might go off for nothing as well. They use the sound barrier at the same token, so Warrior backs off, the rest of the team will back off, and so on one artillery strike, Colorado State puts up the fence.
Finish just saved the map. I don't think that even landed. I think that was, I think the Lucio was killed before they could actually land the sound barrier. Because we've seen in previous fights, they died after it was casted. Yeah, this time I do believe it was an Ajax. I think if they had been able to get it out, they could have lived through that. They could have fought that. And, I mean, they had the M Matrix as well. They actually do know, however, about that flank coming out from the jump rack, so I think they may be able to catch out Country Roads. Yep, there it is. But they're going to lose Epoch anyway.
But they trade that out. Cats goes down and dives right in and finds both of the DPSs. Blade available here for Cats as well to try to end this one. Dragon Strike is down the middle of the lane. It's a 3-on-4 situation for right now. Shatter available, and Shatter is blocked. It is blocked and misses. Rose Dog is able to block it right now. Cats is going to bring out the blade. Is he going to find anything? Fades away. Sound barrier also out to cancel that for right now. So close is this payload. They try to chase away the Lucio. Riptire's going to come out from Country Roads all the way basically from spawn doors. And this might go all for nothing because Death Trap finds 2 and the Riptire finds the rest of the team. Country Roads, take me home. CSU puts up the fence.
chaos. This is utter chaos, Clutchkey. The amount of plays that we're seeing that are coming out just to save this. We've seen both Colorado State DPS come out when it matters most, being able to put the finishing touches on what has been a very back and forth map so far, but now Utah State coming out with this far. No mercy pockets. This is really a 4v5. No one in the sky to really protect them. But again, Country Road's on this flank.
Yep, Country Road's on the flank. Finish is able to take care of Cats. Moving on over to the Symmetra pick in the meanwhile, though, but still Utah State having to back off, and this is an impressive defense nonetheless. They've defended this for over 3 minutes now, and they might even have more of a defensive time bank here as Deathtrot takes care of Rose Dog, and CSU, again, a stone wall with 2 minutes left.
Yeah, and it's usually the archery that's the stone wall, but here they're putting up quite a bit of a fight. They're having this teleporter tech once again going back and forth where they need to. I think we saw that someone is like really above them. I think it was the Ryan, but then they fell. Country Roads again on this flank has paid off multiple times, but they're found out.
They found out. Cats finds Country Roads. 5v4 situation. Full-time Protector is out for finish. Could save them a little bit of damage for a couple of moments, but the Amplification Matrix also out. Here comes the Sound Barrier out from Billy's Spike. The Shatter finds Rose Dog down, and Rose Dog will go down, but they trade that out right away. Coalescence also being used at the same time, maybe to take down this Pharah, but the Pharah stays alive somehow, some way. Minute 40 left to go. Spawn Room still in favor of this team from Colorado State. They will back up for right now, knowing they don't have Rose Dog, and with Cats gone, oh my goodness, Colorado State just keeps the Stonewall coming.
We are a minute and a half away from having the first guaranteed map for the first push in Mountain West for the spring semester. We're not there quite yet, but with no ultimates on the table except for this Deadeye from Utah State. Colorado can hold on for just a little bit longer. They can make it work. Dio? Not sure how to pronounce it, but they are almost at that sound barrier. They have to stay alive. They have to keep that healing being pumped out. They need to get that ultimate online to protect themselves.
That's going to be their saving grace for right now, but still only a couple meters left. 7 meters make the difference right here. Could very well be final fight territory. Dio at 94% looking for that sound barrier. Deadeye is also available for Warriors. Decided to see if they decide to use it. There's the sound barrier out. Is this going to be a push-up that they want for right now? They do push them out. Deadeye is out. It's blocked. The shield comes up just in the nick of time there. And now Rose Dog is trying to push them up. Application Matrix is also out for Epoch. So they respect the window. They go around the corner for right now in natural cover. But Warrior finds two. That could be the goal button here, and that could be spell the end for CSU. They did all they could, but in the end, it's going to be the Aggies with too much time on the clock, and it will be Utah State going up 2-0 in the match.
As they like to say, in the end, it does not even matter. That Amp Matrix was so clutch. I talked about how it didn't really work on certain parts of Nepal. I mean, one map, there was like a cylinder right in the middle of the point, so there's really no point in throwing it out there. But here, this is just a shooting gallery. It's right down this alleyway. There's nowhere to run at this point. The cart is basically blocking your exit, and just beautifully played by Utah State. Colorado, gotta give them a lot of props to holding out on that second point after losing that first point so quickly. Some clutch plays from their DPS, some great flanks, some great alt combinations, but at the end of the day, that sound barrier, it came out just a little bit too early. Their Reinhardt fell really early in that engagement. They were forced to use it. They didn't have an immortality field because they're running the Moira, and that Coalescence, it comes online just a little bit too late to be useful. Colorado so close again, but at the end, it's just not enough, and now Utah State do get to that match point. That map 4 no longer guaranteed whatsoever. We could see another 3-0 happen in the Mountain West.
Yeah, but I mean, still, you give props, like you were saying, give props to Colorado State. They had 5.5 minutes to try to defend that. They took that under a minute, mind you, and that's impressive on its own. And we were talking about how the hold on the archway is probably the toughest. Try holding right around that last point corner for 5 straight minutes, or rather 4 straight minutes, essentially. But I mean, it's still a great fight from the Rams of Colorado State, but they're now sitting on the brink of being swept here by the Aggies. So the next map coming up now in this pool is going to be Escort. So for you, at the very least, this is Colorado State's pick coming up now. So for them, I mean, what would you pick in this case? Because it seems like Utah State likes to go, like, if they're playing up close and personal, hey, maybe it's Colorado State's turn to maybe play a little bit more long range. I mean, who knows at this point?
I'm thinking the exact same thing as you. I'm thinking you go Havana, you go Circuit Royal, maybe you try to go for even Shambhala Monastery, which isn't as long range as the other two, but, you know, it's a newer map, so it's a little bit more chaotic. But I agree. Get rid of any of that short range brawl that you've been mirroring pretty well, but, you know, at the end of the day, you're still not winning the map, so it's unfortunately, just not good enough effort there. I would love to see them bring out the Ramatra again, maybe go for Sigma. Like Circuit Royale, I think could be a great opportunity because we haven't seen a lot of Widow play. We have not seen that like dominating hit scan players just come out and absolutely destroyed everyone on the Widow just yet. So maybe that's something they've got in their in their back pocket. They can pull out this secret comp they've been working on. I just think more range, more power to you. I generally have seen a lot of mid range, a little bit of Hanzo. I think that's really it in some Widow to an extent, but nothing like that's been being played out the entirety of the map, right? It's just for like 1 point at a time. So I think you got to play this really strategically. You got to go something that favors a long range comp or at least gets you away from the Reinhardt. Because as I was saying before, I think their Orisa comp might actually edge out what we've seen so far from Utah, at least from that one round that we saw in Nepal. It was very good. It's the one round that they've won so far in the series. The Reinhardt, again, I mentioned it before. I said I wanted them to get away from it. And although it was, I think, a little bit closer than we saw in parts of Nepal with those Earth Shatters landing a few more times, you could see that Utah in general just seemed a little bit more comfortable. They were executing it a little bit better. And it is going to be Circuit Royal. So either I am a genius or they're listening to this broadcast, even though I believe we're on a little bit of a delay. So I'm in tune with them. And I think this is potentially the best pick they could have. I'd love to see them, bring out just more of a long range composition here.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of times on Circuit Royale where it's going to be probably a Sigma coming out, and we haven't seen a Sigma just yet, but you're talking about Orisas as well. If they decide to play a little bit more aggressively, you still have that. Seen a lot of Widowmakers, but the Widowmakers really haven't had any success per that game of King's Row that we just saw. They tried to start off with a Widowmaker, really did nothing for them. I mean, you still have the Cassidys as well that were pulled out at the same time, and some of the Cassidy plays there were popping off, especially Warrior towards the end of that game in King's Row. So, I mean, we're going to see what these teams decide to pull out, but I mean, this is mainly a Sigma map, mind you, and I don't think these teams are going to stay away from that, especially, I mean, really no changes to Sigma anyways in this last patch.
Yeah, Sigma is very strong. Maybe not as strong as Reinhardt, Ramatcha, Wrecking Ball, or Orisa right now. I feel like those are very brawly, kind of chaotic tanks. Sigma is kind of more all about order and balance because you're kind of protecting your team with the shield. Then you're able to eat up some damage of your own abilities and then also get some temporary shield yourself. And then also just, I think the biggest thing is your damage and your, no need to reload. Sure, you only fire 2 projectiles at once, but they ricochet, they bounce, even though there's, a set limit to them. You can do a lot of damage up front. You can kind of keep pushing your opponents back while your DPS do more long range damage. The other thing that I think we haven't touched upon is Zenyatta. I think Sigma might be the most played on this map, but it's a Zenyatta that I really want to see coming out. And just as I asked for it, Billy Spike gonna give it to me on a silver platter potentially. So I believe they are the defenders, so that is probably a locked-in pick. Zen is very, very good here for a multitude of reasons. But the main one is that you are another glass cannon here, even more of a glass cannon potentially than Cassidy. Sure, you do have your kick, which, creates some space, and you also have your generative shield, which can help, get some health back even if you've lost some. But you really need those long sight lines. You really need those long alleyways. And the other thing is you've got that Discord Orb, potentially still one of the most overpowered abilities in the game that's going to let you do enhanced damage. Everyone's going to do enhanced damage to one target. So if you're able to focus the Ramattra down with it, Death Trap's not going to have a good time.
Yeah, and we'll see Utah State pulling it out on the defensive end. Meanwhile, Colorado State looking to, maybe this Ramattra looking to play a little bit more up close and personal, or maybe pokey like you said, as Death Trap having to be backed away for right now. Is hit with a Bionade from the very get-go, but I mean, really no space here for them right now. The Cats has their turret gone, so turret gone for just a couple of moments. For a little while, Country Roads on that Widowmaker. No Widowmaker on the side of Utah State, but they are going to play this Hanzo. So still long-range projectile versus long-range hit scan, really. But 30 seconds in, not a lot of space being garnered, especially with this Ramattra. And Cats finds the headshot onto Country Roads, which sends them back to the spawn room. No more sight lines for them. And right now, this Ramattra just trying to find any way in, but right now, Utah State denying any sight lines here.
Cat says, I'm just going to do it myself. Goes in with the overload. Might get punished. Does have to back out, but they find Death Trap. So it's not, the long-range DPS that's doing the damage. It is the very tanky Torbjorn. The turret is going to help you find people out. It's going to do some extra damage. But Torbjorn never able to know that arc by heart because it does dip a little bit when you fire your projectile, just like Baptiste healing. I mean, you can still hit headshots for days. And that overload, extra health, extra rate of fire. It lets you just do plays like that. You run in, you just take out the immortality field, and you just have no fear.
Still nothing doing though for right now here for Colorado State. Already a minute and 20 gone, but Death Trap able to switch on over from the Ramattra into the Reinhardt, gets the charge kill on the Cats, albeit close range, and now it finished down in purple for right now. Can't get any healing, but needs to be healed back up if they want to do any more damage. Finds one at the very least as they push this team all the way back across the bridge, and maybe looking to see if they can get a fight win. And now they got to play up close and personal, meaning that Colorado State, maybe on this Reinhardt, having a little bit of an advantage. They get pushed up for right now. That Orb of Discord, though, sitting so carefully right there. There is the Molten Core out, and what a great Bionade. That's a huge Bionade from Epoch onto both Finish and to Death Shot. Dio needs to pull out the Sound Barrier. It might be all for naught. Application Matrix at the same time, and both support off going for absolutely nada. Utah State puts up the fence.
And that was just a slam dunk. That was like from half court with the Torbjorn Molten Core, the Bionade, the Anti-Nade once again is hitting, and we've seen Epoch actually hit a bunch of these this map so far, just not as many of them have been punished like that, but that was just a great combination of utility. And like you said, the Reinhardt, it does give you advantage where you can just kind of push in and take those fights in the mid ground and the low ground, but once that comes to that high ground advantage, they can just back out like this.
Yeah, well, they get both of the Hanzo and the Lucio at the same time. Katz is just going to punch his way for a third as well. Katz is just running into this room with no fear whatsoever, and less than 90 left to go. The Rams are stuck.
And have you noticed something about how they're focusing targets? It's always who has the Discord Orb. They are just perma-Discord Orbing Depth Trap. They do not get to play the game when they are taking all that extra damage like that. And just, you know, besides that one elimination on the Cats when they were caught out a little bit, they've been doing great. And there's going to be the Gravitic Flux.
Gravitic Flux is up. That finds at least Country Roads, and everybody else starts to fall.
No,
the Tornhammer fights too! Oh my goodness, Cats! What do you do? What are you doing to this team? 45 seconds left, and Cats finds the double hammer.
Doesn't even need the Dragon Strike. That's the usual combination. It's almost like a Gravitic Flux, or Graviton Surge is what I'm saying. Gravitic Flux just lands them on a place. You just put the Dragon Strike right on them, but instead they keep it for this last fight. So lots of opportunity, lots of ultimates, and we've seen them try to do this play over and over again, and it has not worked, and now we're going to see two ultimates come on the other side.
Yeah, but they might not even need any more, because Warrior finds two already. Looking at both of the DPSs, Dragon Strike is available for Warrior, but might not even need to use it right now. That Orb of Discord, just absolutely too powerful, and 10 seconds left to go. The Lucio has to back away to even have a chance at this one now. The Lucio's in a lot of trouble. The Lucio finds two. The Lucio's able to find a second here, so chance for Colorado State to bring this back. 1 second left to go. The point is contested by Navio, but for how long? Somebody's got a touch here in the final coming seconds, which they do. The Symmetra is there. Dragon Strike still available. Photon Projector is out of the same token. If Colorado State finds a way to win this, then it might be Dio. That might be the hero here. No time left to go on the clock. The overtime clock starts to bleed out. They push the payload just a little bit further back to where it was originally. Dragon Strike down the middle of the lane. Cats finds Country Road. Sound Barrier is out, but it comes a little bit too late. The Shadow is there, but the Transcendence at the same time saves the day as well. It's huge, and a great Bionade also coming out from Epoch. Gets both Navio and Finish, and this round is finished as Colorado State shut down. Goose Egg on the board. Utah State just that much away from the sweep.
And this is the cleanest round of Overwatch we have seen so far coming out from Utah State. A great composition that was executed flawlessly. Again, sure, maybe a little bit overzealous with the Nano onto the Sigma after the Molten Core came out in the second to last fight, but holding on to that Transcendence the entire time, waiting for that Earth Shatter, and also just the way they rotated out of that teleporter play that Colorado did time and time again. I mean, first time they didn't use a teleporter. I think they just ran up there on the high ground and they caught Cats out, but every other time they tried to take that high ground, it just didn't work out. And then they try taking the low ground, and you could see that Utah, again, they rotate back, they take the high ground that they have on this latter half of the first point. Just very flawlessly played. They know this map in and out. And all this Colorado's choice, Colorado, they are not executing it the way they need to. I was hoping they'd go for some of that more long-range damage like we've seen Utah pull out themselves. But instead, they go for more of a mid-range fight, minus that Widowmaker, where Monster just isn't able to find enough value. The Widowmaker is not able to find good sight lines. They're forced to swap back to the Ryan comp, and now they're going to try the Orisa comp here. I would have loved to see this on attack, honestly. I think this could have done really, really well into the Sigma on attack, but now as defenders, they don't have a lot of room to give up. They lose that first fight, and again, it's going to be exactly how it was basically on King's Row, like where it was like fight and a half, maybe you have a chance of getting back to that. And sure, they were able to bring it back on King's Row, but can they hold it down here?
Well, let's see if they can. It's going to be a tall task to do, especially with the way Utah State has been playing. They bring out the Echo, and they're going to bring out the Wrecking Ball at the same time, maybe to create a little bit more space. But Colorado State's going to try to mirror the success of that Torbjorn that is Cats right now.
Top.
And over the top rope. Does this find anything? Finish does find Cats in the meanwhile, so Cats with no fun for right now. Warrior finds 2 on the focus beam. Oh my goodness, Warrior pushes them up. And I mean, you could already say this from where that spawn room is. This is looking like Final Fight territory coming up.
Yeah, focusing beam there. It's an amazing play. Sure, you lose Cats. They go in just to do all of that damage with their mines, with their grenades. The follow-up pile driver, again, just adds insult to injury, but it's the focusing beam over the top, from the top rope. It does extended damage if your opponent's at half health or less, and they're just able to find so many finishing blows. Cats might end up paying again for the Robozo's play. Actually, I think they get out of this.
Wow.
Wow. Okay. No, they don't. But still, the space that's being look at the space that's being created in the meantime. They're still pushing this cart uncontested.
Yeah, they are, but still 15 meters left to go, and they're just pushing this up right now. CSU needing to defend this with their lives. Finish is able to take care of Epoch, though, so there's the Mercy down for right now. So you take care of the Mercy, you take care of the Wrecking Ball, but it's still a tall task. With 2:40 left to go on the clock, it's 8 meters away from the sweep.
And if you're Utah State, you got to think, hey, sure, the objective to win this is super close, so there's plenty of opportunities to do this, but let's not go too far to the sun. Let's not be Icarus here. Let's finish this out cleanly and play this out as best we can. You don't have any ultimates yet. You can't just overpower them, off of hitting Q just yet. In Colorado State, they're the closest to an ultimate. They're about to get their Molten Core.
Yeah, we'll see. Molten Core is available for Colorado State, which they'll use immediately. There's the Molten Core out, and now Finish is in so much trouble, but good healing keeps him alive. Protection Suzu already having to be used as well for CSU, so Utah State could have the go button right here, right now, but we'll see if they decide to use it. Valkyrie is out at the same time. Duplicate also available. The focus beam out. Is the Stormer going to go down? No, the Stormer stays alive. What a play there from the support to keep them up. Nano Boost is also used at the same token. That's going on to finish. And what a great Bionade as well. That's from Deal to help them out. Now the Rip Tire is out. Is this going to find anything? Trades 1 for 1 for right now. The Ana's gone. So USU on the front end here. Rosedog finds a second. The payload continues to push. This tactical visor is going to have to be huge here, but no more time left for Colorado State to play. It's the Aggies that complete map number 1, map number 2, and map number 3. Broom is out for the Aggies as USU finds their 1-1 record.
And we set it up earlier. What a way it would be to recover from that first week 0-3 to get a 3-0 of your own. And that is exactly what Utah State does here today. Learning from some of those mistakes they made in their previous game, being able to take it to their opponent today and get to even. That is going to be huge for these week 2 standings. And as this Mountain West Conference continues to play on through the upcoming weeks, just overall, this was a very fun series. I said chaos. It was sporadic. It was all over the place at times. But this final map, you could really see Utah able to pick up the pieces, put it together, and put out what was a very dominant last map win.
Yeah, and very dominant indeed. Again, you go back to the scoreline here, 2-1 on Nepal for Utah State, 2-1 on Kings Row. But in the end, Circuit Royale, even on the defensive side, it was only a 1-0 game there. But Utah State in the end finding the broom and getting their first win. So Utah State, the Aggies move up to a 1-1 record, or 1-1 record, excuse me. Colorado State, their first game out, so no more buys the rest of the way for them. They are 0-1 to start off their round 2 and the rest of their season. We will take a short break. When we come back, see if we can get an interview from the winning team of the Utah State Aggies. This is Esports U, and this is the Mountain West Conference. Welcome back, everybody, inside of the booth. Clutch Key alongside Jag, and joining us here from the winning team of the Utah State Aggies, it is Katz. And Katz, a wonderful job to you and your team. How does it feel to have that first win here in the Mountain West Conference regular season?
Yeah, it feels pretty good. I would say after last week, getting it handed to us from Boise State, it's nice to get a win here. It's a big morale boost, I'd say, and we're all pretty happy here. Got that celebratory chocolate milk as well, so.
Hey, busting out the good stuff. I respect it.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit more actually about that loss of Boise State. Was there anything in particular that you took away from it that kind of helped you refocus, or kind of you learned from in that loss that helped you win here today?
I would say the fact that we kept it as competitive as we did, considering like the very large gap in ranks. Sometimes they're just better, but we took the fact that for as well as we played against them, even though it was a 3-0 victory, we used that as motivation, as just to go into this map and play our best that we could. And I think as a team, we showed what we wanted to. So.
Yeah, I mean, you guys seem to kind of just level up as the series went. The first 2 maps pretty close, but that third map in particular, you kind of ran away with it. So I got to ask about one play in particular on that last map in particular, because you guys went on your attack for the double junker at mine. You just went all the way over the top row, landed right onto them, followed up with a pile driver, as well as the focusing beam that helped you really secure that first win and take so much positioning on that map. So I gotta ask, how many times have you guys practiced that, or was that just a spur of the moment thing that you thought of?
Funny enough, Boise State tried doing that against us last week, but
Oh.
they didn't do a full dive on us. It was just the Junkrat by himself, and of course, I died in the game, and so did them in the last game. But we thought like, oh, we could just absolutely collapse on them from 3 different angles. Like Echo goes over the left side, I go over the right side of the building, and then ball comes in from the middle. So it was kind of just a spur of the moment. Yeah, we thought it was a good idea, and I think it worked out.
Well, Catch joining us here from the winning team of the Utah State team. Now 1-1 on your guys' record here, even out for right now. You guys will have a bye next, or coming up on March 3rd on Friday. Next game coming up on March 7th. That will go up against UNLV. UNLV also currently, for what we know of right now, is also 1-0. So looking forward to that game against UNLV. What are you looking forward to against that team of the Rebels coming up?
We know they're going to be a pretty tough opponent, so we're just looking to do our best, probably continue our success here if we can, and just confidence. And I know all of us are pretty motivated to prove what we got, so I'm excited.
Well, and we're excited to see what you are about to prove as well. So thank you very much, Cats, and enjoy the win and enjoy the rest of your night.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, that's Cats from the Utah State team. Again, their record now 1-1. Colorado State dropping to 0-1. And hey, I mean, that's if you're going to make a statement like you were saying earlier on, they went 0-3 against Boise State. What a way to bring that all the way back.
Yeah, and I mean, we got to talk about Boise State. I have not been able to see them yet this season, but this is like one of the powerhouses, not only in this Mountain West Conference, but in Overwatch as a whole. I do believe they are in the top 20 rankings for collegiate. They have consistently been one of the biggest brands in esports. I mean, they have a whole freaking production studio at there. They have a LAN center that they play on for every match. Like Boise State, they are the real deal. And the fact that they said, hey, we're playing competitively, we're finding positives that we can take away. They're learning strats from them. That is a big boost. And that's also a big opponent out of the way early on that you won't have to see again potentially until playoffs. So being able to bounce back, learn from that experience, and get this 3-0, huge dubs all around for Utah State.
Yeah, and Utah State having again, they will have the bye next week. They'll have one other. They still have to go through UNLV coming up on March 7th, and then later on in the season, Fresno State as well, who currently is 1-0 in the standings. So we'll see how Utah State season plays out. And again, Colorado State 0-1, but they still have 6 more games left to go. They still have something left to prove, so we'll see if they can prove that as well. Thank you very much to our production crew here, Observer Cool Scoot, and to Colton, our producer as well. Jag, as always, very nice to cast with you. A little bit of a reminder for you all out there coming up tomorrow. You got Rocket League action and Overwatch 2 action in the ECAC, and follow that up with League of Legends. We head to the Summoner's Rift in the Mountain West Conference. So for all of us at Esports, you have a great rest of your night, everybody. Take care, and see you for now.